Civil Aviation Minister Ajit Singh has rolled out an ambitious plan connecting the Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities of India. And he has also said that he is ready to incentivize the domestic airlines to achieve this ambitious plan. And he's also discussed about seat credit. To discuss this about this ambitious plan, I'm joined by KPMG's Amber Dubey, who is an expert in the subject and has also done extensive research on the subject. Amber, welcome to the show. Amber, could you tell us, what is this plan about incentivizing the regional routes and how will it work?
See, first of all, as the Minister rightly said, if the last 5 years belong to the low-cost carriers, the next 5 years could very well belong to the low-cost airports. Okay, and there's a huge pent-up demand in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities because they also have aspirations to fly. There are also business needs, and also people in the big cities need to travel to these locations because these are the new drivers of growth. There could be factories, mining areas, power plants, places of tourism interest, etc., etc. So all this requires air connectivity to be really expanded to these regional airports. Now, how do we make this work? Because airports, as we all know, is a very lumpy capital investment, and the traffic in the first 3, 4 or 5 years may not be enough to recover the investments made. So that's why we have to find innovative measures to finance the so-called losses, or to bring the cost down, or to underwrite some of the losses which the airlines might make. Now we have this concept called the route dispersal guideline, which means that for category 2, 2A, 3, etc., many of these regional locations have been classified under these categories, and the airlines are obliged to fulfill the guidelines for each of these categories. Now, in the process, what has happened is that the airlines have suffered. Why? Because even on the trunk routes, because of the various fundamental issues and structural problems of the airline sector, and the high cost structure that we have, airlines are anyway working on very tiny margins. Now, on top of that, if they are forced to go to some small town just to meet a particular guideline, that's only going to hurt their bottom lines even more. So that's why, a lot of ideas have been being considered by the ministry. The most obvious one of them is to create a fund which is funded by levying a small levy of say 50 rupees per domestic passenger, or say $2 per international passengers, and create a big kitty called the EASF, as we call it, the Essential Air Services Fund. And suppose you create a corpus of about 1,000 crores odd, you can use that to underwrite some of the seats or underwrite some of the losses which the airlines might incur to provide service to these locations. But here also there is a fundamental flaw, in the sense, first of all, it is politically incorrect, in the sense there could be people who might raise questions that if the state definitely has funds, why use them for aviation, which is still touted as a luxury item, and not spend it on the usual social sector like education, healthcare. Number two, this is a finite fund, so we cannot just keep on underwriting forever, right? Number three, the biggest issue is going to be how do we select those 5, 10 or 20 airports which need to be supported, because again there will be all kinds of allegations and questions asked. So one of the other innovative ideas that we've been thinking and discussing a lot is this concept of seat trading. Now this is not a technical term, it's just something very akin to what we have carbon trading in the emissions space, in which what it basically means is that instead of asking our large airlines, national level airlines, to actually fly half empty planes or planes with just 60 or 65% seat factor to some of these small locations and incur further losses and burn costly imported fuel in the process, what you could do is actually allow local air taxi operators, local entrepreneurs who understand a particular state, say in the state of UP or MP or Karnataka or Tamil Nadu, you could have local entrepreneurs who understand the local dynamics. They could operate these small, efficient air taxi services with a small fleet of 3, 4 or 5 aircrafts, with just about 10 seaters, 20 seaters or 40 seaters, whatever is the market demand. And those guys, once they operate, if we have some kind of a mechanism set up by MOCA and DGCA, that for every seat kilometer they get, say, suppose 1 credit, and they accumulate these credits, and then they can sell and they can trade these credits with the national airlines, say like Jet or Air India or King or Indigo, and that will allow Indigo to meet its quota. It will this money that the air taxi operator earns from the large airlines will help it meet its own profitability and pass on some of those benefits to the end consumer, because the end consumer in some of these small towns may not be willing to pay the high fares. Okay, and on top of this, if the local state government, once they start seeing the multiplier benefits of promoting aviation, if they can pump in another 100-200 crores per annum, that only adds to the viability of the air taxi operator. So in this whole process, if we look at this from a holistic view, the national airlines gain because they don't have to burn fuel taking half-empty planes to small towns just to meet a law which was set up long back. Okay, the air taxi operators who understand the local lay of the land and the market dynamics, they'll operate efficiently and make money from the larger airlines. Okay, the local people in those small towns get air connectivity, which otherwise they will not get. Okay, and last but not the least, the whole country gains, because this whole burning of fuel just to meet a particular guideline can go away with time. So this is something which needs to be thrashed out, frameworks have to be set up, and a policy has to be drawn up, and then left for wider consultation with the industry, and then converted into a actual policy.
Thank you, Amber, for that enlightening discussion. There we are. Like carbon trading system, we are going to, the domestic Indian civil aviation is going to witness a seat trading mechanism, which will also take out the burden from the national airlines and also will emerge as a new business opportunities for local air taxi operators. For more updates, please log on to liveman.com.